Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha with news tonight, where we get you all the latest news and updates from across India and the world. Let's first take a look at the COVID-19 situation in the country at present. The death toll on Tuesday rose to 1,583, while the total number of infections also surged to 46,711 across different states. This number also includes the 13,161 people who have been cured and discharged until now. 194 deaths and 3,875 new cases were reported from across different states in the last 24 hours, the second highest spike in 2 days. The government attributed this to state governments coming forward to report cases after timely intervention from the centre.
कुछ स्टेट से जब हमारे को केसेस टाइम पर रिपोर्ट नहीं हुए, डेथ रिपोर्ट नहीं हुई, तो हमने उनको परसुएट किया और उसके तहत ही केसेस रिपोर्ट हुए, जिसके कारण ही सडनली आप डेथ की संख्या में इंक्रीज आज नोट कर रहे हैं। लेकिन इसके साथ ही ये भी हम सबको समझना होगा कि जो हमारे कंटेनमेंट एफर्ट्स फील्ड में आज काम कर रहे हैं, जिस तरह से हमने स्टेट्स को और स्टेट्स के साथ साथ जिले के अधिकारियों को गाइड किया है कि वो जहाँ पर भी केसेस आए वहाँ कंटेनमेंट जोन बनाएं और स्पेशल टीम्स के जरिए हाउस टू हाउस सर्च करके उन केसेस को ट्रैक करें और उन केसेस को कंट्रोल करें। तो अभी इस सिचुएशन में बहुत जरूरी है कि इसी एफर्ट को हम उसी कंटिन्यूड विगर के साथ करते रहें।
India's recovery rate, that is, the number of patients cured for every 100 cases, remains steady at over 25%. On Tuesday, the recovery rate was 28.17% in the country. It was 23.3% on the 28th of April. Monday's recovery rate was 27.52%. The government has once again urged people to contribute to break the chain of transmission by following all precautionary measures.
Started with a case doubling rate of 3.4, and as on today we have a case doubling rate of around 12, which means when the cases were doubling in 3.4 days, today we had case doubling at around 12 days. However, this momentum and this result has to be sustained. कहीं पर हमारे स्मॉल क्लस्टर्स हैं, तो जहाँ स्मॉल क्लस्टर्स है वहाँ पर आप ये पाते हैं कि एक से दूसरा केस बिल्कुल ऑटोमेटिकली आप लिंक कर सकते हैं और उसको फॉलो कर सकते हैं। इसी तरीके से कुछ लिमिटेड एरियाज में यू विल ऑल्सो नोट कि हमारे लार्ज आउटब्रेक सिचुएशन हम बोलते हैं कि जहाँ पर मल्टीपल क्लस्टर्स हम पाते हैं। तो अगर उस तहत में देखें तो वी आर वेरी कंफर्टेबल इन टर्म्स ऑफ मैनेजिंग द सिचुएशन एज ऑफ नाउ। हाउएवर, it is also to be understood that since this is an infectious disease,
the Union Health Ministry on Monday said the COVID-19 outcome ratio has improved to 90:10 from 80:20 on the 17th of April. The outcome ratio indicates the ratio of number of COVID-19 cases recoveries in relation to the number of deaths. So for every 10 deaths, roughly about 90 people have recovered from the disease. This indicates better clinical management of patients affected with the infection. The doubling time of confirmed cases has slowed down to 12 days, which is an improvement from a fortnight ago when the doubling time was 10.5 days. Prior to the nationwide lockdown, the doubling time stood at 3.4 days. India's mortality rate, which means the number of patients dying for every 100 cases, stands at 3.2%, which is the lowest in the world at present. India has so far successfully been able to avert community transmission of COVID-19, said Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan on Tuesday. He also expressed hope that the behavioral changes brought about by COVID-19 could become a new normal for a healthier society even after the infection recedes. The minister said the doubling rate of cases in the country has been showing regular improvement. On Tuesday, the number of COVID-19 cases crossed 46,000.
मास्क लगाया हुआ है, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेंटेन की हुई है। आपने भी देखिए कितना लंबा ये इसके साथ हैंडल लगाया है कि डिस्टेंस को मेंटेन कर लें हम लोग। तो ये सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग तो सबको फॉलो करना है। दिल्ली के लोगों से, देश के लोगों से बार बार हम लोग अपील कर रहे हैं, फिर अपील करना चाहते हैं कि लॉकडाउन के अंदर अगर कोई रियायत की गई है तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग को हम इग्नोर कर दें। सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग और अपने मुंह पर फेस कवर हमने लगाया हुआ है, तो हमारी काफ़ी हद तक सुरक्षा हो जाएगी।
Meanwhile, long queues and crowds were seen at liquor shops across Delhi on Tuesday, despite a 70% tax hike imposed by the state government on the MRP of liquor. The national capital also saw 45 Indo-Tibetan border police personnel testing positive on Tuesday for novel coronavirus. As many as 4,898 people have tested positive for the infection so far. Maharashtra remained the worst hit state with 14,541 COVID-19 cases. The government has declared a freeze on new development works till March next year. The Mumbai police imposed Section 144 till the 17th of May in the city between 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. In an order, it clarified that during these hours, only vehicles addressing medical services and the ones used for essential services will be allowed to ply. Maharashtra government also said that from Tuesday, standalone shops will issue tokens for customers to avoid crowding at shop counters. Gujarat was the second worst affected state in terms of COVID-19 cases. The tally in the state currently stands at 5,804. In Rajasthan, the number of coronavirus cases touched 3,061 on Tuesday. Tamil Nadu intensified testing of people in major COVID-19 hotspots. On Monday, more than 12,800 samples were lifted from people, leading to the identification of 527 new cases, most of them being asymptomatic. The southern state has 3,550 coronavirus cases so far. A wholesale market in Chennai was temporarily shut after it emerged as the latest hotspot for COVID-19. Meanwhile, in order to contain the spread of COVID-19, spitting in public places in Noida has been prohibited, and violation can attract a penalty of 500 rupees for the first time and 1,000 rupees for repeat offenders. In the next 7 days, India will evacuate more than 14,000 stranded citizens from 12 different countries. The evacuation process will begin on the 7th of May. Naval ships and airplanes will be used for mass evacuation of these stranded nationals. My colleague Akhilesh Suman brings us this report. There are two modes of transport that will be used to evacuate Indian nationals: naval ships and airplanes. According to an estimate, 64 flights will be used for evacuating Indians from Europe, America, Gulf and some South and Southeast Asian countries. There are also plans of using 15 naval ships for this purpose. Starting 7th May, around 14,800 Indians stranded across different countries in the world will be brought back to India. These Indians who are in UAE, United States, UK, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman and Bangladesh will be evacuated in a phased manner. All Indian embassies and high commissions are making lists of people to be evacuated from these countries. According to sources, priority will be given to those ailing, pregnant, senior citizens and those stranded on short-term visa, or people who lost their jobs, or Indian tourists who went on short vacations.
Of flights that we are planning to mount during the first week of the resumption or the commencement of this operation, and I mean the period between May 7 to May 13th. We have worked out those details, and these involve 10 flights from the UAE, 2 flights from Qatar, 5 flights from Saudi Arabia, 7 flights from the United Kingdom, 5 flights from Singapore, 7 flights from the United States, 5 flights from Philippines, 7 flights from Bangladesh, 2 flights from Bahrain, 7 flights from Malaysia, 5 flights from Kuwait, and 2 flights from Oman. This brings the total number of flights that will be operated during the first week to 64.
The Indian Navy confirmed that 3 of its ships, including INS Jalashwa and INS Magar, are on the mission to get back citizens from Maldives. INS Shardul has been diverted to Dubai to bring the expatriates from the West Asian countries, including the UAE. The breakup of the numbers of people who will be brought to India is UAE 2000, Saudi Arabia 1000, Qatar 400, United Kingdom 1750, Singapore 1250, Malaysia 1750, USA 2100, 1250 from the Philippines, 1400 from Bangladesh, 400 from Bahrain, 1000 nationals from Kuwait, 450 from Oman, and the remaining from Maldives. Evacuation will be paid for by the returning people. The Ministry of Home Affairs on Monday released a blueprint of the evacuation process, saying the activities will be coordinated by the Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Civil Aviation, Shipping and Defence.
सुविधा पेमेंट बेसिस पर उपलब्ध कराई जाएगी। हवाई यात्रा के लिए नॉन शेड्यूल्ड कमर्शियल फ्लाइट्स का इंतजाम किया जा रहा है। ये यात्राएं फेज्ड मैनर में 7 मई से प्रारंभ होंगी। फ्लाइट लेने से पहले यात्रियों की स्क्रीनिंग की जाएगी। केवल एसिम्प्टोमेटिक ट्रैवलर्स को ही यात्रा की अनुमति होगी। राज्य सरकार द्वारा उन्हें या तो अस्पताल में या इंस्टीट्यूशनल क्वारंटाइन में 14 दिन के लिए पेमेंट बेसिस पर रखा जाएगा। 14 दिन के बाद दोबारा कोविड टेस्ट किया जाएगा और हेल्थ प्रोटोकॉल के अनुसार अग्रिम कार्यवाही की जाएगी।
On reaching India, travellers will have to register on the Arogya Setu app, undergo medical screening and also remain in quarantine for 14 days.
India has developed acumen and system of evacuation. In 1990 also, during Kuwait-Iraq war, India evacuated almost 170,000 Indians from the Gulf region. Similarly, during the Yemen crisis, India evacuated almost 5,500 Indians and almost 1,000 foreigners from that region. So in that way, what is more important is that not to evacuate young people who are working on foreign countries. Only emphasis is being given to the needy people who are not able to support themselves in foreign countries. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha television in Delhi.
Reviewing the various initiatives taken up by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has said that the affordability factor of various drugs, vaccines and other diagnostic and therapeutic equipment must be considered.
The health minister discussed, among other things, the progress of remdesivir, an antibody drug, with the heads of the CSIR institutes. The health minister said that all scientists and institutions should prioritize the requirements of the time and contribute to finding quick and deployable solutions.
के जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल हो रहे हैं और एमडी के जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स हो रहे हैं, ये फाइटो फार्मास्यूटिकल्स के बारे में, वैक्सीन्स के बारे में या कन्वलेसेंट प्लाज्मा थेरेपी के बारे में, या जो हमारे हॉस्पिटल असिस्टिव डिवाइसेस पैदा करके नेक्स्ट वीक इन सबको एक साथ बुलाएंगे। और हमने कहा कि एक विषय के ऊपर अलग अलग अगर लोग भी काम कर रहे हैं तो इन सबके बीच में भी सिनर्जी होनी चाहिए, और ताकि समयबद्ध तरीके से हम सूचीबद्ध करके अपनी उपलब्धियों को देश के सामने प्रस्तुत कर सकें।
So far, CSIR has done genome sequencing of the novel coronavirus. As many as 53 sequences of the COVID-19 genomes have been submitted to the Global Coronavirus Genome Database and Global Initiative on Sharing All Influenza Data. DG CSIR Dr. Shekhar C. Monday apprised the minister that CSIR has mounted a coordinated strategy involving all 38 of its labs and is working in close coordination with industry and other agencies.
We also have approved DCGI for approvals of multiple trials on favipiravir. We are very soon approaching on zinc gluconate. We will be approaching on colchicine and things like that. But yesterday we also had approached the DCGI for trials on convalescent plasma. It's called convalescent plasma, that people who have recovered from the viral disease but they have circulating antibodies in their plasma. So those kinds of trials also are set to begin now. At this moment, it's very difficult to compare the efficacy of different drugs, as all of us know, US FDA has given approval to remdesivir in a very limited manner. Right? It is not a very blanket approval for everyone who can take remdesivir or not. So we will have to wait and watch for data. At today's date, we can't actually really say which is better and what is more efficacious.
The Inter-Ministerial Central Team, which visited West Bengal to assess the COVID-19 situation, has said that the state currently has the highest mortality rate in the country. In its parting letter to West Bengal Chief Secretary Rajiv Sinha, the IMCT reported that at 12.8%, the state has the highest mortality rate among all states in the country. The central team blamed it on low testing and weak surveillance and tracking by the Mamata Banerjee government. Headed by Special Secretary Apurva Chandra, the team completed its 2-week tour of West Bengal on Monday. It pointed out major discrepancy in the number of cases being reported by the state in its medical bulletins and its communication with the central government. The IMCT has also accused the state of non-cooperation, saying the team was not given access to officials, barring the Principal Secretary Health. The IMCT, however, commended the efforts of the West Bengal Health Department in increasing the testing rate from 400 a day on the 20th of April to 2,410 on the 2nd of May. The team is yet to submit its final report to the centre.
सोमवार को आए थे, मंडे को। आज 15वां दिन है, हम लोग का वापस जा रहे हैं। और जितना भी संभव था हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे अलग अलग जगह गए, लोगों से मिले और देखा, मार्केट देखा हमने, हॉस्पिटल देखे और हिल एरियाज में भी गए, यहाँ के भी अलग अलग एरियाज में गए और देख करके अब जो भी हम लोगों ने रिपोर्ट बनाई हुई है वो हम भारत सरकार को देंगे और उसके बेसिस पे भारत सरकार आगे का जो भी होगा.
Meanwhile, West Bengal has revised its coronavirus numbers. The Inter-Ministerial Central Team, which visited West Bengal, state that it had 1,259 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Until a day earlier, this number was less than 900. The state also revised its death toll to 133, which was earlier below 50. The high-level group of ministers on Tuesday held its 14th meeting on the COVID-19 situation in the country under the leadership of Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan.
It was decided in the meeting that it was necessary to further promote the usage of the Arogya Setu app in order to facilitate better risk assessment and timely alerts. 9 crore users have already downloaded the app as of 4th May 2020. The GOM was apprised that as of now the death rate due to COVID-19 in the country is around 3.2%, while the recovery rate is more than 25%, which may be taken as a positive effect of the lockdown along with better cluster management and containment strategy. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan stated that the use of technology is integral for the containment strategy and is helping states to manage COVID-19 in a more effective manner. The GOM was also informed that under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, 66.08 lakh metric ton of food grain has been lifted by 36 states and union territories from the Food Corporation of India so far, and 16,364 crore rupees have been released under the DBT cash transfers to farmers during 2020-21. Till date, 20.05 crore women Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana accounts are being credited with 500 rupees per account as cash transfers under PMGKP.
ग्रुप ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स ने कोविड-19 के संबंध में माननीय स्वास्थ्य मंत्री जी की अध्यक्षता में अपनी 14th मीटिंग की. मुख्यतः इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन टर्म्स ऑफ PPE, N95 मास्क एंड वेंटिलेटर्स, ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर्स अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ ऑक्सीजन पर डिस्कशन किया गया. यह बताया गया कि रिस्क असेसमेंट को फैसिलिटेट करने के लिए और लोगों को टाइमली अलर्ट प्रोवाइड करने के लिए टेक्नोलॉजी का इस्तेमाल करते हुए आरोग्य सेतु एप्लीकेशन को बढ़ावा दिया जाना चाहिए.
Addressing the summit of Non-Aligned Movement or NAM countries on Monday through video conferencing, Prime Minister Modi said that humanity is facing a major crisis and NAM can attribute in dealing with it. Outlining the steps India has taken to contain the spread of COVID-19, Prime Minister Modi said that India has ensured the supply of medicines to 123 partner countries, including 59 NAM members. The Prime Minister also urged the global community to fight against other viruses like terrorism and fake news.
COVID-19 has shown us the limitations of the existing international system. In the post-COVID world, we need a new template of globalization based on fairness, equality, and humanity. We need international institutions that are more representative of today's world. We need to promote human welfare and not focus on economic growth alone. Even as the world fights COVID-19, some people are busy spreading other deadly viruses such as terrorism, such as fake news and doctored videos to divide communities and countries. We should develop a platform for all named countries to pool our experience, best practices, crisis management protocols, research and resources.
The Ministry of External Affairs said Prime Minister Modi's participation underlined India's long-standing commitment to the principles and values of NAM as one of its leading founding members. The NAM summit was hosted by the Azerbaijan president, the current chairman of NAM, on the theme United Against COVID-19.
And nearly 2 months after nationwide lockdowns, European countries are gradually trying to bring back life to normal.
Italy started easing its coronavirus containment measures since Monday. Manufacturing and construction work have resumed, parks have reopened, and residents have been allowed to go outside their homes. Restaurants and bars have been allowed to reopen for takeaways. Schools, cinema halls, theatres, museums and hairdressers, however, remain shut and will be reopened later.
È una liberazione e poi vedere il verde, i fiori è qualcosa di indescrivibile, la gioia che mi procura. Sì, è proprio bella.
Beh, finalmente posso rimangiare un famoso cornetto alla crema di Di Rienzo, che notoriamente è uno dei migliori di Roma, fatto fresco, perché non sono quelli congelati, fatto fresco, sfornato poco fa e finalmente almeno oggi possiamo digustare.
Spain has initiated a 4-phase plan to reopen the country. Hairdressers, bookshops, ironmongers and flower shops have resumed services. The shops are allowed to operate by appointment only and with strict social distancing guidelines. Germany and France reopened 2 of the 11 currently closed border crossings on Monday in view of declining rates of COVID-19 infection and fatalities. China on Tuesday reported 16 new coronavirus cases, taking the total number of infections in the country to 82,881. The total number of deaths in the country remained at 4,633, as no deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. So far, the novel coronavirus pandemic has claimed over 252,500 lives worldwide. More than 3.6 million people have been infected with the disease globally. The United States remains the worst hit country with over 1.2 million confirmed cases, followed by Spain at 2,48,301 cases, Italy at 2,11,938 cases, and the UK at 1,90,584 cases of COVID-19.
Israel claims to have isolated a key coronavirus antibody at its primary biological research center, a move that is being seen as a step closer towards developing a COVID-19 vaccine.
Israel's defense minister called it a significant breakthrough towards a possible treatment for COVID-19. The official statement claims the monoclonal neutralizing antibody developed by the Israel Institute for Biological Research attacks the virus and neutralizes it inside the virus carrier's body. The antibody reported as having been isolated at the IIBR is monoclonal, meaning it was derived from a single recovered cell and is thus potentially of more potent value in yielding a treatment. Elsewhere, coronavirus treatments developed from antibodies have been polyclonal or derived from two or more cells of different ancestry. The institute is now preparing to get a patent for the antibody. If effective, this vaccine would join several others that are already being touted as potential vaccines for COVID-19.
India on Monday demarched a senior Pakistani diplomat in Delhi and lodged a strong protest against the neighbouring country's Supreme Court order calling for elections in Gilgit-Baltistan. MEA spokesperson Anurag Srivastava said both the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, including the areas of Gilgit-Baltistan, are an integral part of India by virtue of their fully legal and irrevocable accession. Anurag Srivastava further said, and I quote, "The government of Pakistan or its judiciary has no locus standi on territories illegally and forcibly occupied by it. India completely rejects such actions and continued attempts to bring material changes in Pakistan-occupied areas of the Indian territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Instead, Pakistan should immediately vacate all areas under its illegal occupation." Unquote.
When the whole world is fighting the menace of corona, it is Pakistan's civilian government and Pakistan's Supreme Court that is trying to take a fight with India on the issue of Gilgit-Baltistan and issue of Kashmir. It is better Pakistani authorities take care of their people who are fighting the menace of corona. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television in Delhi.
And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you very much for your time. Take care of yourselves and your families. Good night.